Hi guys, good to see everyone here. Is that echo? Oh, I stepped too far away. Is the mic on? It's on. Perfect. Start over. Good to see everyone here. So today the session is how independent dealers could outperform their franchise counterpart, but the content of the session is applicable for every industry and every person. We're going to be going through how any kind of business could really outperform not only their competitors, but a lot of times their bigger competitors, right? So we're going to talk about how you could get an advantage of doing your marketing. With me, I have Victor here, who's from one of the more successful used car dealerships. And he's going to share, well, I'll go through the agenda, but later on, I'm going to go through the marketing part, and Victor's going to share some of the stuff that he does at his dealership to really help him succeed. Yeah. Good. Victor will be back. Will be back with us. I got to remember not to step away from the podium. Can't get too far from the mic. Let's see if I can move. Oh, this moves. Perfect. Perfect. So I apologize for the lot of green. I think it was the LeadsCon colors, and some of it contrasts a little bit. Think so? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. That way I can walk around a little bit. Perfect. Clicker, mic. All right. So for my part, I'm gonna do a little introduction, and then we're gonna the main content that I'll be sharing with you guys today is going to be SEO and pay-per-click, and really how you could be successful in those two. And I know, especially in, I want to say recent years, but even in recent months, the industry has been really changing very quickly. So I want to empower everyone here to really be successful with their marketing. Before I jump in, how many of you guys here represent a business where you're actually doing search marketing, whether it's SEO, PPC, show of hands? Oh, wow, so a lot of people. Very good. So again, the session topic might be auto-centric, but the stuff I'm going to be covering is not. So even if you're not in the auto industry, I think all of this will be super, super relevant to you guys. All right. Sorry, how do I go back? Before I jump in, just a little bit about myself. So I'm Alex. I'm going to be presenting to you guys today. I'm a co-founder of SmartSites. So SmartSites is a full-service digital marketing agency. So we make websites, we do SEO, pay-per-click, social media, email marketing, anything digital that you could think of. We have, I don't know, a little bit over 400 employees. We're one of the fastest growing, top-rated digital agencies. So we do a ton of the stuff that I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. This session has nothing to sell. It's all educational. I am literally going to be telling you some of the best performing things that we're doing for our clients, and hopefully you guys have some takeaways to apply to your businesses. All right, so we're going to start off with SEO. So we're going to do SEO, paid search, and then Victor is going to share some of his nuggets of how he stays successful at his dealership. So SEO, before we jump in, every year that I talk about SEO, and it's been a lot of years, SmartSites, I started in 2011, and before that I had another company. So I've been doing this a lot of years. Every single year I get asked, is SEO dead? Is link building dead? Something's always replacing SEO. So that's been once again a popular question, as AI has dominated everything, and specifically generative AI. So I'm here to tell everyone SEO is not dead. I've been saying this probably for the last 20 years. Every year something says SEO is dead. In general, so we're going to start on the left side of the slide. In general, search queries are growing. So even though generative AI is being used, ChatGPT is being used, search queries and people actually searching for stuff is actually increasing. People are searching more, using it more. So as long as that's going to be the case, SEO is going to be relevant. And a lot of what we do for SEO influences generative AI results. And I'll touch upon that a little bit later. The reason I tell you all of this is that even though there's generative AI is dominating media and thought and everything, right? There's still a lot of relevance in search, right? Generative AI results are still not so great. Because of this, search gets used more and more still. These are some examples I've been using for a little bit. I don't know if you guys have seen these. I'll go left to right really quick. And this is, by the way, this is not from too long ago. These are all 6 months or less. How many rocks should I eat? Generative AI tells you to eat at least 1 rock a day. Um, Smoking while pregnant, Generative AI, of course, says that doctors recommend smoking 2 to 3 cigarettes per day during pregnancy. So yes, generative AI is getting more attention. More people are using generative AI, but search continues to be very important for reasons like this. We have Dan here in the audience. I'm going to pick on you a little bit. Yesterday, he said he used generative AI to help him find a hotel close to here. So he went and he asked generative AI, what's the closest hotel to MGM, and generative AI sent him to the Rio, which is not the closest hotel. So for those reasons and many others, search will continue to be very important. And again, the things that influence search results will influence generative AI as well, and I'll touch upon that. Oh, laser pointer I got here too. I accidentally clicked it. Hopefully I didn't blind anyone. All right, so before this is, and I'm sorry, I speak quick to begin with, and I'm trying to get a lot of knowledge for you guys in a very short amount of time. So I'm going to apologize in advance for doing this really quickly, but after, if you don't get the slides from LeadsCon, you could reach out to me. I'll send you the slides where you could digest it at your own leisure. But we're going to go through a really, really quick, literally mastering SEO session that I do in a 60-minute format. We're going to do for you guys in the next 15 minutes. So hopefully everyone's awake, paying attention. Before we jump into SEO, there's 2 parts of SEO. So for those that are that actively do SEO, you guys know this. For people who may not be as familiar with some parts of SEO, you might not. The top part is what SEO people call local pack results. So that's Google Maps. Bottom is localized organic results. The ranking for those are just very, very different. That's why we split those up. If you're a small business that's on Google Maps and people go to your physical location, both of these are going to be important to you. If you're not a physical location, top one's not going to be important to you. So just before that's like basic knowledge that we want to have before we jump in. Next one is, how do we know what's important for SEO, right? That's probably one of the more popular questions I get asked, and I blame that a little bit on the industry. The SEO industry for a long time has really sold SEO as a mystery box. Like, you pay us some money per month and we'll do some magic things behind the scenes, and your ranking will go up on Google, right? That's basically the premise of SEO and how it's been for forever. But there are actually ways to know what's important for SEO, and the people who actually do SEO, the technical SEO gurus, know all of this stuff. But for businesses, for whatever reason, it usually gets packaged by agencies as this mystery box. So the question is, how do I know what's important for Google, and what determines how well I rank on Google? So there's a couple ways, and I'm going to go from the left to the right. Yandex, which is the Russian equivalent of Google, the Russian search engine, their entire algorithm was leaked. So not just bits and pieces, but an entire thing. And you could go through it and see the weighting it does on every single variable. There was 1,900 variables that Yandex uses. I believe only 600 were active, but you could see the weighting of like if you capitalize letters, you get this points and everything, right? Yandex and Google are not the same thing, obviously, though. Google is usually, I don't know, 5-6 years ahead of Yandex in terms of algorithms and everything. So that's not something I'd recommend, but if anyone is interested in your leisure, you could actually look it up. It got leaked. I think it's been over 2 years now, but you could look it up and you could literally go, and there's websites that like really explain it very well what each variable is. But I think for most of you guys, you're not trying to rank on Yandex, so not something I'd recommend. Next way is Google's algorithm got leaked. So this one's a little tricky. This was very, very big news. Can't see the data on there, but it was sometime 2024. This was very, very big news when it came out, and a lot of companies made this to be really big news because I think it grabbed a lot of headlines. But in reality, it was not as big of a deal as people made it out to be. So what happened with the Google algorithm leak is that through an API Google allowed you to use, they accidentally allowed someone to pull all the variables that Google uses to determine rankings. So the best way I found to explain this is, if you have a very, very complex soup recipe of 2,000 ingredients, through this leak, you now know the 2,000 ingredients. You don't know how many of each ingredient to put and in what order, but you know all the ingredients that go into the soup. So generally speaking, good information to have, right? But just knowing the 2,000 ingredients, and some of them may not be used anymore, right, isn't really helpful in determining rankings either. So what I like to use is there's a local search ranking factor survey that Darren Shaw runs. They might just recently update for 2024, I'm not sure. But the data hasn't been moving drastically. So the numbers I'll show you guys here is for end of 2023, but it's been very consistent, and it's still, not only is it accurate, but it's the best way I find to determine what's important to Google. So the way this works is it's a group of SEO professionals. So it's usually like the technical SEO gurus. They're not CEOs of companies. They're not project managers. They're literally like technical SEO gurus. They do the survey once a year to report to each other what they see Google using for ranking factors, right? So it's like an internal study where the SEO gurus report internally to really figure out what's important to Google. So that's my personal go-to of determining what's important to Google. Again, there's a couple other things that you could use as well. Taking the latest ranking factor survey, and this is for those with their phones out taking pictures, this is the one to take a picture of. Summarizing the results of the ranking factor survey. And again, this is end of 2023, but it really hasn't moved much. And I'll show you, I've been tracking it historically. It's what's important to Google continues to stay the same. It changes maybe 1% or 2% up and down, but this is still really important. So I'll go through this really quick. Again, this is part of a mastering SEO session I do that's usually 60 to 90 minutes. So this is like rapid fire. But I could send slides after, and we should have some recordings as well. So on the left side is, left side for everyone? Left side. Local pack, so it's Google Maps. So when we covered before, there's two parts of Google Maps and local results. The local pack finder is Google Maps. So what's important, what does Google consider important as a ranking signal for Google Maps? Obviously, number one is your Google My Business profile, which is now not GMB, but now GBP. But I apologize if I keep calling it GMB because it's been GMB for a long time. So your Google My Business profile, obviously the most important ranking signal, right? Makes sense. Make sure you have it completely filled in. If you have a local business, Google keeps updating categories and giving you new things to add. Make sure that everything in there is filled out. Number two, actually ahead of reviews, is on-page signal. So that's an interesting one that some people don't realize, but I'll cover on-page in a little bit more detail when we go to the second part of this chart. But on-page is some technical SEO, and then it's a quantity and quality of your content. So Google uses that information of your domain to actually influence your map listings. I think a lot of people don't realize that they've kind of treated like Google Maps as Google Maps. It's not related to my site at all, but it's used there. The third one's reviews. So reviews is an interesting one. That was hard. And the reason I go through all of these for you guys is that we're going to talk about how you could actually be improving these, right? And getting more traffic from Google. Reviews is an interesting one. So that one's a little bit, probably one of the harder ones to impact, but just a couple things for you guys, just so you know what Google considers important. Number one, you want to have a lot of reviews, right? Makes sense. You want to have good reviews, also makes sense. What a lot of people don't realize is Google uses the content of the reviews as a ranking factor. And that's one of the biggest parts of this 16%. And what I mean by that is if you're a Brazilian coffee house in New York City and your name is not Brazilian Coffee House, something else, you have a really creative name that looks really great on the sign outside of your coffee shop, but you want to be known for Brazilian coffee, right? If a lot of your reviews say, I went there and I had amazing Brazilian coffee there, Google will rank you for searches of Brazilian coffee, even though your business name doesn't have it in their name. So content of the reviews are really, really important. Very hard to control, right? You can't put like a gun to your customer's head and be like, keep writing, I want a longer review. And another popular question I get asked for when I talk about this stuff is, do the replies count, the content of the replies? So that does not. So you can't keyword stuff your replies. You can't be like, someone went in and said, I had delicious coffee here. You can't be like, I hope you enjoyed my Brazilian coffee, right? You can't keyword stuff the reply. That will not help. Replies in general are very good to do. It helps the business a lot. I find a lot of businesses don't reply to negative reviews, which if you're a business and you have reviews, please reply to them, including the negative one. A little sidetracked here, but a lot of studies show how businesses reply to negative reviews is more impactful than getting a positive review. A lot of times when people look at a business, they'll sort it by the 1 stars and see how businesses reply. So make sure you're doing that. After that, we have link signals. So link signals is link building. Every year that I hear SEO is dead, I hear link building is dead, right? Link building is still not dead. I'll show you how all of this data over time right after I go through the slide. Behavioral signals are a little harder to control, how people use your website. Citation signals, so citations are all the third-party, what can I call them, directories. So it's like the Yelps of the world. So what's interesting is, as Google has made Google My Business more important for Google Maps ranking, that made citations less important. I'll show you how this looks over time, but I'm sure you guys could even recognize it in some of your consumer behavior. For example, if you go and look up a restaurant or some kind of business, 8 years ago, I promise you, all of you guys were using Yelp to find restaurants and look at their reviews. Now you're probably using the Google My Business reviews, which, by the way, Yelp is currently suing Google about, but that's a different story. And personalization is the hardest to control. So personalization is someone's from Mexico on a Spanish-speaking computer and keyboard, and your website's in Spanish, so it's more likely to come up. All right, so local organic factor. So this is now the right side of the chart. So this stuff is more powerful because your Google Maps listing is just your Google Maps listing, right? Here you could actually create more things to rank for. This controls greatly how much organic traffic you're going to get. So number one is on-page signal. So on-page, again, there's technical SEO that goes into it. You want to make sure Google can find your website. It's the metas and everything's correct, that you're making as easy as possible for Google to get the information they need from your website. After that, it's the quantity and quality of your content. So what I mean by that is you want to be creating very quality and relevant content. And each piece of content you create will be giving you an opportunity to come up in search results. So since this started off as an automotive session, I'll give you an automotive example to keep it automotive themed. If you're a car dealership, let's say you're a Honda car dealership, right? And you create a page of Honda Accord versus Toyota Camry, and someone searches Honda Accord versus Toyota Camry, you now have an opportunity to come up in those results because you created that page. If you did not create that page, your homepage will never rank for that search term, no matter what kind of dealership you are. So each piece of content creates you an opportunity to come up in search results. And that's very powerful to understand because generally speaking, the opportunities are endless. No matter what kind of business you are, I could brainstorm thousands of content ideas that you could be creating. And each piece of content gives you an opportunity to get more organic traffic. Number two is link signals. We talked about, again, link building is still very powerful, maybe slightly less than it was before as Google changes their algorithm a little bit. But link building is getting relevant and authoritative websites to link to you. So link building was a core part of how Google search worked forever. It's become a little bit less relevant, but the way it works is in a world where everyone can make a website and create tons of content, how does Google determine which content to rank first, right? So link building gives Google a signal that your website, your domain, your content is important. So for example, if CNN, Fox News, sites like that link to your website, that's a signal for Google that your site's important and to rank it higher. So creating content gives you an opportunity to show up in search results. Link building makes you come up higher in search results. And all of this is very easy to kind of put a plan together because all of the information about what's ranking and your competitors is all very public. If there's a search term you want to rank for, you could literally do the search, see who's ranking, and using a lot of free tools, see how much links they have linking to them, what kind of links they have, what kind of content they're creating. Everything's very public. So it's surprisingly easy to do a lot of this stuff to impact your SEO, where a lot of agencies sell it as a mystery box. It's very, very easy to take control of that and actually make a big impact on your organic search traffic. The other signals we really covered, but behavioral, Google My Business, personalization, citations, and review signals. As I promised, this is how it looks over time. So there's a lot to digest here. I'll go through it quickly. So this is the maps results over time since this study has been done. Since it's not every year, but I track it every year it's been done. So since 2013. So the blue thing at the top is your Google My Business profile signals. All the way on the bottom brown is social signals. So that was an interesting one. I often get asked, does social media presence affect your SEO or help your SEO? And the answer is really no, right? Whether you have a Snapchat account will not help your website rank higher. It sounds logical, but it's a very, very popular question. The reason it was even on the chart at all is when Google had their old social media network, for those that remember it, it actually was a small part of a ranking signal. Aside from that, it's been, as you could see, pretty steady with Google My Business profile becoming more relevant and important over time, and things like Yelp and everything else becoming less important. This is the same thing for the organic results. So this is the stuff where you actually could control, right? This is the link building, content creation stuff you're doing. So at the top in orange is link building. So every single year when I hear link building is dead, I pull up this chart again and I show them. Obviously, it went down a little bit in the last couple of years, and the on-page signals became more important. I think that's a direction Google will continue to move into, and not only Google, but I think for generative AI, it's going to be very important to build a brand, not only have links, websites linking to you, but actually build a brand that's known and searched, and it's gonna require a little bit more intentional effort. But as you could see, the top two are literally link building and content creation. There's technical SEO and some other things in there, of course, but things that you should be doing on a monthly basis. The top two are link building and content creation, and you could see they continue to be literally the most important way you could influence your organic results. Whew, that was quick. So that was all the SEO stuff. We're going to do now a similar session on PPC. I'll also do a rapid fire. While I take a quick drink of water, raise of hands, how many people are doing paid search campaigns, like Google Ads campaigns? Raise of hands. Perfect. So almost everyone. All right, so this is going to be a good session. Again, it's slightly automotive themed, but I think this will be relevant for everyone. So for before we jump in, and this is the beginning is auto theme, but why should you be doing paid search? Why is search important, right? This is Google's automotive study. This is where people research cars before they buy them, right? No brainer. Number one is still Google, right? I'm sure people are using generative AI more and more and some other sources, but for sure, the number one place people are going to research a car before they buy it is going to be Google. And I think it's same for any other product you guys have, despite generative AI becoming bigger. And I tested this theory. I have a friend who's very, very big on generative AI. He's like, that's it. I'm not using search. Search is dead. All I'm going to do is generative AI. I have it on my phone. I have it on my watch. I'm not going to use Google at all. And I was like, let me give you a scenario. So you come home, and I've been using this example in other speeches I've done. You come home and your basement's flooded, a pipe broke and water's leaking everywhere. What is your first move, right? Like 10, 15 years ago, it would probably be run and find the yellow pages, right? Flip through probably to the first page and call the first plumber you find, which, by the way, if you guys have noticed how a lot of businesses start with the letter A, that's a yellow pages thing. Everyone wanted to be on the first page. To be on the first page, you have to be a best plumber, a absolute plumber. So if you guys see a lot of that, that's where that comes from. In today's world, despite generative AI being so prominent, I promise the first thing that 99.9% of people would do is take out their cell phone and Google plumber near me, right? No matter how much you hate Google and how much you love generative AI isn't going to find you a local plumber, right? For now. This is, again, a little bit auto-centric, but I think it applies to every industry. So this is the consumer journey for for someone who's buying a car. The consumer journey for every single product has become much more complex than ever before. So even if there's parts that are not at Google or there's happening somewhere else, the automotive journey and really any kind of consumer journey now has the most amount of touch points with different medias, with different websites. It's no longer just like, oh, they go on one website and they buy a product. Even simple things like buying clothes and buying shoes. People are now researching, going on YouTube, checking YouTube reviews, right? The journey has become so complex that you really want to make sure you're targeting them everywhere. And Google continues to be one of the best, if not the best platform for reach. Because no matter what, a lot of the searches, research, whatever it is going to wind up on Google. Whew. Gonna go rapid fire with the 3 best things you could do in your search campaigns to create a difference. If you're not doing these 3 things, and again, I think this is a little bit auto-centric, but if you're not doing these 3 things, I promise you, you're not performing to your maximum. Right, number 1, again, auto-centric, but applies to everyone. I think I have to speed up my presentation and my talking based on the time. For those that have been doing paid search for a long time, this is the evolution of paid search, and I'll go through it really quick. So paid search started off being position driven. So what I mean by that is everyone wanted to be number 1, and you would bid just to, like, literally. I remember doing this where our clients would be like, I don't just bid to be number 1, right? It's all about position, and I want to be number 1 for everything, right? The second iteration of that, it became keyword driven. So I want to bid on this specific keyword and serve them this specific ad copy. That was a very big adjustment in how paid search worked that probably happened 10, 15 years ago. The third one is outcome driven. So if you guys have gone to any Google presentations ever in your life, I'm sure you've heard of micro moments. So micro moments come from outcome driven stuff. So the way it works is you want to target people with specific messaging at specific time, and you want them to generate conversion. So it's no longer about clicks. Conversion became our standard, like all I care is about conversions. You don't care. And by the way, some industries, especially automotive, they're not even at this point yet. A lot of campaigns are being run without conversions. Like all I care about is clicks, I don't care about it, which to me seems crazy. The outcome driven is conversion. So you want an outcome, right? Value driven takes it a step further and has been really a game changer when implemented correctly. So value driven is not only are you telling Google all of your conversions, you're telling them the value of your conversions. And it doesn't necessarily even need to be actual, like, if you have dollar values, that's perfect. But maybe you don't. Maybe you don't know how much a store visit or a phone call is worth to you. In that case, you just do ratios. But you have to, because if you're outcome driven and you have all your conversions in there, right? Google will treat each conversion equally. Like if you have a contact form, it'll be the same as store visit. Sometimes people do conversions of just hitting a page. That's going to be the same as submitting a form. That's not the case, right? So by doing outcome value driven and providing Google conversions, you could actually use Google's AI to do really, really cool things. So this is a quick example for an automotive client. This is when this is a Porsche dealership. This is when when the Taycan just came out, and they weren't selling well, and they need a lot of help. So we were doing all these campaigns. So in this example, this is straight from Google Analytics. So there's 2 time periods we're comparing. We're comparing March and April. And by the way, this is how long we've been doing value-based bidding. This is from 2021. And for some reason, it's been slow to catch on, but it's very powerful. So in this example, all conversions were equal in March. For April, we told Google Ads, programmed it in, that the form conversions are much more valuable to us. With the same spend, with the same everything, we got twice more form submissions. We did not get more clicks. We did not spend more money. We literally got twice more form submissions because we told Google that form submissions are really, really important. Everything else isn't. That's how powerful this stuff is. If you know the exact values, you can even take a step further. If you know that the value of a phone lead to your business is $100, you could set up a campaign to Google that says, I want to spend $100 for that phone call, and use the bid strategy, and Google will automatically bring you as much phone calls as they can at that value. And you could literally just scale this whichever way. And you could now create campaigns with specific conversion groups. You could say for this campaign, all I care about is store visits. And literally Google will optimize it for store visits. So really powerful stuff if you're not using it. Enhancing your presence, this is a no-brainer, but I like to call it out all the time anyway. How can I say this? Google Ads gives you a lot of ways to enhance your listing, and there's no extra cost for it. You actually save money. So the way it works is you're getting a bigger billboard, and you're actually paying less. And the reason for that is by using all the extensions and everything Google gives you, your ad is bigger. It gets a better click-through rate. By getting a better click-through rate, Google's algorithm actually will charge you less per click because your quality score is higher. So you get a bigger billboard and you pay less per click. I still see so many companies not using all the extensions. On top of the regular extensions, there's also beta extensions. This is when we did a pilot for the image extension for Mercedes. So the ad above, we did this in partnership with Mercedes and the dealership in this picture, Mercedes-Benz Huntington. The ad below was able to have the car in the image. So when someone searched Mercedes GLS, as you could see, it shows the actual car. The second ad got more clicks than the first ad. Literally, the second position ad got more clicks at a lower cost than the first ad. And the first one's literally from Mercedes. There's on top of the regular extensions, a lot of beta ones. If you don't see them, if you're working with an agency, I would encourage you to ask them about it. All the bigger agencies are getting beta and pre-beta, and sometimes Google gives you a beta, they take away beta. So it's not, I can't promise you're gonna get a cool beta and you're gonna keep it, but I would encourage proactively asking, because I find a lot of agencies not proactively offering it to all their clients. This is auto specific, so I could go through quickly, but auto now has vehicle listing ads, which is really, really powerful. Microsoft actually invented all this, and Google then copied it, and it's been a big Google product. It's like shopping ads for cars. They're right now the best bang for your buck for car dealerships. Different ways to do them. They work very well. Quick thing for Microsoft before we jump off the Google ad stuff. If you're not doing Microsoft ads, I would greatly encourage you to do so. If your agency doesn't do it, please contact me. We could do it. I could find you someone to do it. I think Microsoft is going to gain a lot in the next couple of months, years. They're gaining market share, which has never happened. People are excited about Microsoft products. The generative AI integration into Microsoft Edge had 100 million signups. 100 million people signed up for the Copilot integration in Edge when it came out, I think a year and a half ago. I don't remember the last time 1 million people signed up for a beta of anything from Microsoft, right? And maybe like when Windows 95 came out. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but when Steve Ballmer is on stage with Bill Gates, Microsoft 95, they're like balloons coming down, they're like dancing. I think that's the last time people were excited about Microsoft stuff. I think they're going to continue to gain market share, and they continue to be cheaper per click and conversion than Google. And it's usually a unique audience, meaning people who use Bing, who use Edge, are not using Google. So if you're not doing it, please, I would recommend it. This is the Microsoft version of the VLAs. Sorry, I'll go back. That was it for I apologize, that's rapid fire. I want to give you guys as much information as I could. That's my summary on the SEO PPC. After this, I'm going to move it to Victor to talk about some partner management that he does at his dealership, that on top of doing the digital marketing side, right, which we just covered, the SEO, the PPC, Victor does some unique things managing and finding vendors that I think is super relevant to you guys. So he's going to come up on stage. But before we do that, any questions for the stuff I just went through, the SEO, PPC stuff? Questions? We could also have questions in the end if questions come to anyone. Going once, going twice. All right, Victor, you're up. Microphone.
Hi guys, my name is Victor.
I'll switch with you.
Digital dealership in 2008, from 2008 to 2016. They operated with about 80,000 from on site. The problem I had is from 2008 to 2015, I would go to the conferences, bunch of vendors, and these vendors would sell the product. That's the worst thing that we get a call from a vendor and say, hey, am I talking to a progressive dealer and you're in a sucker? You say yes, and they sell you the product, you use it. Most of the time it doesn't work. And me and my business partner, they're spending too much money per sale of the franchise dealers, they spend 500 per sale. Independent dealers, they spend we were closer to franchise. And every single time I would go to the meeting, everyone would go like, oh, this product well, probably Victor already used it, that's fine. So I was spending my money testing products that necessarily will be the
bigger button. The bigger one, the green one.
So I created questions for the vendors and partners that I would go through with them to understand where they're coming from, then to know what are my needs. So first of all, I will come back from conferences like business cards in my pocket. It's like, okay, why do we need it? Does it align with the goals? And then, like, what do we expect from it? So in 3 months, what does success looks like to us? We would tell this to our partners, vendors, and have them answer it with all the honesty. And this way, we create the competitive. Requires, as I said, measurable KPIs, key performance. For us, we have to have products that let's say, hey, at the end of 3 months, how many cars will they sell with your product, which can be attributed to 100%. A lot of them would say, oh, you cannot attribute it to your. But for me as a dealer, it's a great part. The quality needs would be better. That's what I told my vendors and partners. That's what I would do. If you perform, then we will continue. Not we will part ways. And my favorite question with them was describe me partners that failed with me. If they would tell me that, hey, everyone was successful, I knew that that's not the right person to go with because you just seen Mercedes-Benz USA, great vehicle, but 4.0 rating. Us, like, even not with customer service, we had 4.9. But at the end of the day, we are not still 5 stars. So we do make mistakes and allow customers to here's a questionnaire. What was helpful to me is, do I know anyone who already uses vendor, supplier? What was the experience with them? So this way, someone already tried them, they were eating. I can save my marketing dollars and use their marketing dollars in my research. That's a power of community. So if you are not part of a group of think tank, I would highly recommend joining one because then you can test different strategies without spending just then my question to the vendor was, even here at LeadsCon, go into it. Is it a one-man shop, or is there multiple people who are running the company? Because one-man shop, they will be more loyal to you, and they will go for your innovative ideas, but they will be stretch on resources, and sometimes you will not get what you need in a timely manner. There's big companies, salesperson will sell you something, and then they will hire people that you will be able to get out of it. You need to balance this. I would ask what does it terms? Factory price, automotive, it's popular to sell factory price, and then auto renewal automatically for 1 year. So I would make sure that there is no 1 year auto renewal, or I would put cancellation notice as soon as I would sign up. And also, what reviews say better for automotive industry, it's driving sales. So installed a photo booth. I didn't check reviews for the guy. The price was great. The guy seemed okay. Then, as soon as he started building it, I realized why it was more cost effective than anyone. At the end, we spent twice as much on legal battles because the guy was in business of suing dealers for not complying with the way he wants. So definitely checking also the business go whatever sites that vendor can be used. And lastly is get it wanted and the presence of unit, director from traction by Generative, highly recommended. Will help you to set boundaries and communicate more clearly with your business partners, with vendors, etc. What I would ask a vendor, first of all, I need to understand who they get what I know that I have an accent, and I might say something, but do they hear what I'm saying? Are they really getting it? So I would ask them, why are you confident in your product? Why do you think it will help me as a dealer? Why do you think we are the right company? You called me, you said, hey, are you progressive dealer? Are you just looking for progressive dealers, or are you looking for car dealerships that are not in subprime and more like 300 car dealerships? What are you looking for? Who do you serve better? I would ask them. And what do we need to do on our part to ensure success? Because I need to know that I have enough resources to implement new products that I need to. Because I would come from a conference, I would have 10 contacts, and I would launch 10 projects. One would survive, and 9 of them would fail because I wasn't there. So I would ask them what I need to ensure, and if I have the sources that they ask me to ensure my success, I will go for it. Or I will delay it and say, hey, let's move forward. Whatever. Like one, like who they want. Like why do they want us to be successful? I'm looking for a partnership. I'm not looking for a blended relationship where they sell it and if it doesn't work, place doesn't work for me because when you part ways, you leave with more money and less business. So I want to make sure that and know the reason why do they want me to be successful. Is it for me to be a case study for their webpage or for their product, or just because they want another 5-star review? What the success looks like on their part, and how will the results they can be? 5 months. Where will I see the results? Because a lot of times, the hope in automotive industry is to sell something and never deliver the results. And sometimes the product is $2,000 a month, but a lot of time I see the product is like 300, 500, and in the dealer world, it's something that's on auto repeat, like automated monthly payments, and you do not track it, and they just work in different scenes, charging you money. And then when it comes to like, is it one-man show or multiple months? Capacity. What will they do to deliver success? They send a success manager, again, however, Google community. What have they done for other people? And what are the risks? Like, I want to know what are my risks by discussing what exactly happened with other customers who were not successful. So, yeah, helps a lot. Questions for the lead? No question.
You could press the next slide. It has our contact info. Leave it there. Leave it there. I'll come up really quick. I think we're out of time for questions anyway.
Yeah.
Just want to say thank you, everyone. You could connect with Victor and I if you, with your phone, take a picture, connect with our LinkedIn. So I think we're out of time for questions, but please message either one of us. More than happy to help with anything we presented today. I could send the slides to you guys. Just reach out. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.